I am inevitable. We've heard the line 1,000 times, but when Thanos snapped his fingers, he didn't see himself as a murderer. He saw himself as a gardener, a man pruning a dying tree so the rest could survive. But across the multiverse, in the soot-stained world of Scadrial, there was another man who made a similar choice 1,000 years earlier. His name was Rashek, the Lord Ruler. He didn't just prune the tree, he put the entire world in a cage and locked the door. Welcome to ArcCraft YT. Today, we aren't just looking at who would win in a fight, we're looking at a much more dangerous battle, the war of philosophies. We're deep diving into the savior complex, the terrifying logic that justifies genocide and slavery in the name of survival. This is Thanos versus the Lord Ruler. Let's start with the Mad Titan. To understand Thanos, you have to understand the Malthusian Trap. Thomas Malthus was a real-world economist who predicted that because population grows faster than food supply, famine is inevitable. Thanos watched this happen to his home planet, Titan. He offered a solution: random, dispassionate execution. When they called him a madman, he didn't get angry, he got determined. By the time we meet him in Infinity War, Thanos has evolved into the ultimate utilitarian. Utilitarianism is the belief that the correct moral action is the one that produces the most happiness for the most people. In Thanos' mind, if killing 4 billion people saves 40 billion from starving to death, he hasn't committed a crime, he has performed a miracle. But here's the twist: Thanos doesn't want to rule. Unlike almost every other Marvel villain, he has no ego for the throne. He wants to sit on a porch and watch the sunrise. This makes him incredibly dangerous, because you can't bribe a man who wants nothing but a balanced universe. Now let's look at the Lord Ruler. Before he was a god emperor, he was just a man named Rashek, and like Thanos, he was faced with a dying world. A cosmic force of destruction called ruin was literally choking the life out of the planet with the deepness. Rashek took up the power of a god at the Well of Ascension. But here's the difference. Rashek wasn't a philosopher at first. He was a man of action and ego. When he had the power to reshape the world, he made mistakes. He moved the planet too close to the sun and had to create volcanoes just to cool it back down. Instead of balancing the world like Thanos, Rashek decided to freeze it. He created the Final Empire, a society built on a rigid caste system. He made himself the center of a religion, an immortal father who controlled every breath his subjects took. Where Thanos is about change, the snap, Rashek is about stagnation. He believed that as long as he stayed in power and nothing ever changed, the world could not end. He traded human progress for human survival. To maintain these philosophies, both needed godlike tools. Thanos had the Infinity Stones, 6 gems that control the fundamental laws of reality. It's magic without a price. But Rashek, he used the metallic arts. As a fullborn, he could compound. He could store his youth in a piece of metal, then burn that metal to get 10 times the youth back. He was a biological machine. This is where their tyrannies differ. Thanos' power was external. He needed the gauntlet. Rashek's power was internal. It was in his blood. This made the Lord Ruler much more personal in his cruelty. He didn't just kill half the population. He spent 1,000 years personally ensuring that his Ska slaves remained broken and illiterate. The most fascinating part about these two is that they both truly believe they are the heroes. Thanos calls himself the only one with the will to act. He genuinely loves Gamora, and he genuinely mourns the life he takes. He views his own life as a sacrifice. Rashek, in his final moments, tells his killers, "You don't know what I've done for this world." He spent 1,000 centuries holding back a god of entropy. He viewed himself as a shepherd of a very stupid, very ungrateful flock. This is the savior's sin. They both believed that because they had the power to choose, they had the right to choose. They stopped seeing people as individuals and started seeing them as investiture or resources. Why did they fail? Because both ignored the unpredictability of the human spirit. Thanos thought a grateful universe would move on. He didn't realize that grief is a fuel that can power a time machine. The Lord Ruler thought 1,000 years of oppression would erase the desire for freedom. He didn't realize that a single survivor, a Mistborn, could find the one crack in his immortal armor. Their plans were mathematically perfect, but stories aren't told in numbers, they're told in arcs. And an arc built on blood will eventually always break. So, who was the better villain? Thanos, the man who wanted to save the future by destroying the present, or the Lord Ruler, the man who wanted to preserve the present by destroying the future? Let me know in the comments which philosophy scares you more, and if you're a fan of Mistborn, Marvel, or the craft of storytelling, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We have plenty more arcs to craft together. I'm ArcCraft, and I'll see you in the next one.